Yo, 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 yo. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. Give y'all a minute to slide up in here. Marcia T's in the building. Tanya D. Y'all, you were in here. Real Eyes was in here. Good morning to the ladies of freedom. Ooh, to the we. What an interesting last couple weeks it has been. And we're going to get into it. This will be a short live as I make my way to the gym. Going to the gym early today because I have a busy day ahead of me. So guess what? We never skip leg day, right? Today is indeed leg day. Anyway, how y'all doing this morning? We're going to get into this. Make sure you guys hit the like button when y'all slide into the building. Make sure you guys hit the like button. And thank you for hitting the like button. Man. Tragedy struck yesterday, as we all know. If you don't know, you've been hiding under a rock. Tragedy struck yesterday when Charlie Kirk, conservative activist, was killed at an event in Utah. All right, he was killed in an event in Utah, struck in the neck by a bullet, and I thought they had some guy under arrest. I saw the photos and the video of them arresting some old white guy, but they're saying that the killer, the assassin, is still at large. It's still at large. Now, Charlie Kirk was a racist. Let me just get that out the way. Charlie Kirk was a racist, and he made no bones about it. Even though, he tried to dress it up as something else. We all know in reality he was a racist. And it's ironic that the person that killed him may indeed have been a white person. So, just to get all the unpleasantries out the way, Charlie Kirk was a racist. Now, am I glad he's dead? No, I'm not glad he's dead. People die every day, B. And I'm not glad or happy when they do die unless I know they committed some sort of atrocity. Now, Charlie Kirk simply being a racist, it's not an atrocity, right? What he's mostly doing is espousing racist hatred. That's what he's doing. And he's trying to convince other white conservatives that black people are a problem because we're lazy, we ain't got no daddies, because of the violence in Chicago and gang violence and this and that, and that when white folks commit atrocities is because of mental illness. We know he spits that bullshit. But I wouldn't wish him his death. But we have to understand that when we spit certain rhetoric, we will enrage someone. Right? We will enrage people. We will make them hate us simply because we have to appear to be the logical one, right? Because some individuals like to confuse logic with victim blaming, finger pointing, deflection, and Charlie Kirk was a master of that. Right before he died, his last words were, "Is that with or without gang violence?" Because a young man in the crowd asked him about mass shootings. Probably because he was, anti-2A or I have no idea why he asked those questions. But we know what he was getting to, right? We know that he was referring to the spate of mass shootings that are being committed by white men. But of course he has to point to, gang violence, of course, right? Because he doesn't want to address that problem. There's nothing wrong with addressing the problem of violence in Chicago. But there is a problem when you deflect from the violence against children in schools toward gang violence in Chicago or gang violence anywhere else. We don't want to answer those questions. We don't want to address it. We want to point to mental health issues. Why? Because guys like Charlie Kirk wanted to paint a picture that black folks are a problem in this country. Not just him. All those other people, right? What's that small hat's name? The dude, the Ben Shapiro, the Tim Pools, all those guys, and then the coons that marched behind them. The Brandon Tatums and all these guys, the conservative twins. They all march at the same beat. They all march to the beat of the same drum. And who do they get the most outcry from? These people. They get the most outcry from white liberals. That's who they get the most outcry from. That's who they get the most white outcry from. Because, most black folks don't listen to these guys. They aren't even aware of them. Unless you are in a realm that I'm in and you dibble and dabble in politics to this regard. And most of the individuals that do, most of the black folks that dive into these issues, most of them are black conservatives. The bottom line is, Charlie Kirk was assassinated because of the words he spoke, because of the message he pushed to people across America. Right? Plant the seeds of hatred against certain groups of people and convince your group that they are the most superior. That is the message he pushed. We are the superior race. You guys are savages and violent. And, when you guys get shot like dogs in the street by police officers, well, look at what you guys did. You smoked weed in high school. You did this, you did that. You blame the unarmed black individual who gets mowed down in the streets by police officers or anybody. But they have nothing to say about the unarmed white folks getting killed by police officers. They have nothing to say about them. Nothing to say about it. Because they don't want to point to the problem of policing in general in this country. Philando Castile. Didn't we blame him? We blamed him because he smoked weed. And because he had a permit to carry. Well, Philando Castile deserved it because he was a weed smoker with a gun. Even though he had a permit and told the police officer, look, man, let me get you my concealed carry license. Reached to get his concealed carry license and got shot up. Oh, but the police officer smelled weed, and then guess what we did? We blamed Philando Castile who complied with the police officer. We blame him for getting killed because he's a weed smoker. Mike Brown. They convinced everybody. Oh yeah, he reached in the car to try to take the cop's gun. And then he ran away and then turned around and tried to charge him like a bull. Okay. Well, the bottom line is Charlie Kirk getting assassinated can lead to a number of things. maybe people can wake the fuck up and understand that the problem is not so clear, that the problem is not so black and white, that people are violent. People have the tendency to be violent. We don't know exactly who killed Charlie Kirk. Like I said, they arrested some old white guy, but then they're saying that the killer is still at large. I find that to be very interesting. I find that to be very interesting and convenient. Because no, it might be that no, we can't say that Charlie Kirk was killed by a white man. We can't say that. Not after he talked about gun violence or gang violence. And what do they want you to believe? What comes to mind when somebody like Charlie Kirk says gang violence? Black violence, right? That's what comes to mind. That is a code word for black folks being violent. No, we don't want to talk about the violent white men. We want to talk about the violent black folks. We don't want to address all the problems. We just want to address the problems that we feel you guys cause. Do I care that Charlie Kirk was murdered? Not really. I didn't look up to Charlie Kirk. I had no positive emotional feelings towards Charlie Kirk at all whatsoever. I mean, what I care about is that an unarmed man was killed. That's what I care about. An unarmed man speaking freely at an event he was invited to. That's where the problem is. Charlie Kirk was exercising his right to free speech, as he has been doing, and he got murdered for it. That's what I have a problem with. I have a problem with that, because Charlie Kirk didn't go out and commit any violence towards anybody. He didn't attack anyone. He was unarmed and it was murdered. Sure. Was he a racist white man? Absolutely. Absolutely, he was a racist white man. And they'll try to convince you that he wasn't, right? They'll call you a snowflake. They'll say you're sensitive and all these things if you call Charlie Kirk for what he is. What he wanted and for this country is for white folks to take their place as the superior race and control everything in the nation. That's racism. Excuse me. You want your race to be on top and to be superior. That's racism. You want to paint a picture that black folks, well, they're violent. They can't fly planes. Oh, what was that dumb shit he said? If I got on a plane and saw a black pilot, I will be concerned. Simply because he's black. You'll be concerned about his qualifications. Well, he's a motherfucking pilot. He's a fucking pilot. What does that mean? That means he's met the qualifications to become a fucking pilot. What are we talking about? And we think that's logical. He thinks it's logical to think, oh, if I see a black pilot, oh, I got to worry about his qualifications. They hired him as a fucking pilot. He's going through flight testing. He was probably in the military. He's met the qualifications. But when we talk about the problems that these aircraft were having, these planes, it wasn't due to the pilots. It was due to the poor maintenance of the goddamn aircraft. How is that the pilot's fault? If the mechanics aren't doing their job. If the company is being cheap and they don't want to replace shit. They don't want to get new parts. They don't want to upgrade their planes. How is that the pilot's fucking fault? We want to blame the pilot because he's black. Because of mechanical failure of an aircraft that he has nothing to do with. That's what we're doing. And we want to say that's logical. This is the type of silly, stupid ass, dumbass shit that Charlie Kirk spit. Every time something happened. Oh, that must be a DEI. It's fucking idiotic. It just really is. Stupid. It really is. And this is the type of guy these white folks look up to for guidance and leadership. Silly, stupid ass shit. You know what's ironic as well? Charlie Kirk said that Martin Luther King was a horrible person. Absolutely said that. Charlie Kirk said that Martin Luther King was awful. That's what he said. Mr. Mac 25, he says, fuck Charlie, fuck Trump, fuck Mouse. Oh, absolutely. Chris Brown says, shut up, you shut up. Why are you here? If you don't want to hear what I got to say, march your ass on out of here. So No Cowful, or whatever the hell your name, son of Cal, says, stop your culture's murdering. What about your culture's murdering, whatever your culture is? Realize says, JFK, RFK, Lincoln, all were assassinated and none of them were good either. I don't wish that on any worst enemy. Shut up. Oh, yeah. I mean, real talk. Philando Castile was complying. And they blamed him because he may have been a weed smoker. Clip says a professional off them. I wouldn't be surprised. They blame Philando Castile because he may have been a weed smoker. What about John Crawford? What did he do to deserve his demise? Y'all remember him, John Crawford, in Ohio, in the Walmart? Picked up an airsoft gun in the Walmart that was sitting on the shelf. He was minding his own business. And what happened? A cracker. Oh, this guy looks suspicious. He's in the aisle with a gun. Knowing good and goddamn well, he saw all the other airsoft guns and he had picked up. He picked up one of them. But they blamed John Crawford for holding the gun in the aisle. Well, that's what you're supposed to do. If you want to buy something, if you're looking to buy something, you pick it up and you fucking look at it, you nimwits. The elites killed Kirk because he was preaching Jesus. That may be the case. That might be the case as well. But they're not going to blame it on that. They're going to blame it on black folks. They're going to blame it on the liberals. They're going to blame it on the left. Why? Because they need that division to remain in place. I told you guys yesterday. I told you guys that they want to keep us divided because it's easier to keep us under control that way. But now what are they doing? Right after I said that Charlie Kirk was killed, and they're blaming the left for it. They don't know who killed him, obviously, right? Because they're saying the guy's still at large. Oh shit! Damn, what happened to that super chat? Somebody dropped a super chat, and I couldn't even goddamn read it. Okay, y'all are. I have cognitive dissonance. Neutral cult says. How do I have? I am consistent as hell. I'm one of the most consistent YouTube content creators on this motherfucker. What truth was Charlie Kirk speaking? Redeemed by Christ? Is it true that if you see a black pilot, you should automatically be concerned about his qualifications? Just because he's not a white man with a square jaw? Is that the qualification of being a good air pilot? Being white with a square jaw? Where is the logic in that? Where's the logic? Prove what, Flammable Elmo? Prove what? Jay with open eyes says, unironically, white people are still helped out more than black people from the... Absolutely. White women. You know who affirmative action benefited the most? White women. White women are the most benefited from DEI and affirmative action. I proved that in a live stream one day. I showed you guys. Remember when the helicopter pilot crashed into a jumbo jet, and the pilot was a white woman in the military? And then I showed you guys that the most benefited group of people were white women from DEI ever since the Civil Rights Act. Who benefited most from the Civil Rights Act aside from white women? Small hats. But y'all want to point to black aircraft pilots. Why not say, oh, if I got on an airplane and saw a white woman as the pilot, I would be concerned about her qualifications. No, you didn't say that. But guess what? That's more likely that white woman was a DEI hire than a black man. I'm putting lies in a dead person's mouth. How am I putting Mama Bear? What did I lie about what Charlie Kirk said? Charlie Kirk did say MLK was an awful person. He did say, are we including with or without gang violence? He said that shit. What is forced DEI? These companies adopted a DEI policy. They adopted DEI policies. It wasn't forced. Thank you, Slim Richmond. What do I have to lie about? Why would I lie on Charlie Kirk? School wants to know if it was a professional hit. It was probably a professional hit because you're talking about a crowd full of people. And it must have been a sniper, because to get a shot off like that in a crowd full of people, somebody would have had to seen it happen. So if the guy is still at large, that means that they probably weren't in the crowd. They were probably somewhere off in the distance. A guy calling himself Revolution Room said, "You're stupid." If you're going to call someone stupid, you might want to learn how to spell first. Wade Anglin says, I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, tell me what I need to know then. Help me understand. There'll probably be a part 2 to this live stream, by the way. I got to get in the gym. Mark Roberts says the dude is dead already. R.I.P. Charlie. Yeah, rest in peace. I mean, it is what it is. But we have to understand the atmosphere around this whole situation and the atmosphere he contributed to as someone with a voice who speaks out, just like Donald Trump. Donald Trump had multiple attempts on his life by white men. Charlie Kirk was likely killed by a white man where he was speaking in a state that's over 75% white. The people that speak out against Charlie Kirk the most are white liberals. But who did Charlie Kirk point his ire to the most? Grimm says that Carhartt hat is part of our culture. Y'all are silly. Realize says, what did I say about culture? Did I speak about culture in this live stream yet? Did I speak about culture? Why are we talking about culture? You want to get into culture? Where was this hat made? Was it made by white folks? The ones who supporting the fact that the man did say racist shit, but you all are the problem. Bots, no pics, but it's obvious he said things about people who look like me. Yeah. That's real talk, Realize. We can't point that out, though, because Charlie Kirk's dead. When our leaders die, y'all love to talk about all the shit they talked, right? When our leaders die, y'all do the same shit. Charlie Kirk did the very thing, that very same thing to Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King been dead for decades, and Charlie Kirk is shitting on his legacy. You think Charlie Kirk gave a fuck about Martin Luther King? Guess what? Martin Luther King was shot in the neck too. Martin Luther King was shot in the neck. No, America was never righteous. You're absolutely right. Not under the rulership of the colonialist. Weed Them Boy says, get a real job. Your steroids are kicking in, and do yoga. I already do yoga. And I don't do steroids, but thank you for the compliment. Mark Roberts said, I'm spreading hate. How am I spreading hate? I'm telling you the facts. I'm giving you the facts. Charlie Kirk spread hate. Charlie Kirk spread hate, fomented division, instead of pointing to the real enemy. The real enemy is who? The powers that be that wants you to believe that your enemy is a black man or black folks. I'm full of hate and death. How is that? Y'all saying that because y'all don't want to hear the truth. Y'all don't want to hear the truth. Who spread hate? How am I spreading hate up in this bitch? Who's spreading hate? I'm not spreading no hate. I'm pointing out the fact that Charlie Kirk was not spreading unity. Salute to Coach Hudson in the building. Did Charlie Kirk preach unity? No, what did he do? He fomented hate and division against black folks. He wanted to convince you white folks that, listen, the problem is the black folks and the liberals. That's not unity. See, Charlie Kirk was in a position and has an understanding, like many of these people that are up there that have these huge voices that go around the world that have relationships with Donald Trump and people like that. I thought the enemy was the deep state. The deep state that they said were the ones spreading hate and division. But what did they do? What did they do? Instead of focusing on that, they focus on gang violence in Chicago, in LA, and all this other shit. And then dismiss the effects of slavery, dismiss the effects of Jim Crow, the civil rights era, right? That just happened at what, 70 years ago? That's not that long ago. Eli sent the gift. Salute to you. I appreciate that. Y'all want to dismiss epigenetics and how the epigenetics, how slavery played into the epigenetics of a group of people that are affected today because of it. The economic disparity that is still at play today. We just supposed to get over it. Oh, just get over it. Get over slavery. Get over Jim Crow. Get over forced integration. Get rid of the civil rights era where we sprayed y'all down with hoses. Forget about all that and put the dogs on you. People that are alive today went through that. But we just supposed to forget about it. We supposed to forget about the crack epidemic, which was initiated and perpetuated by the CIA. The heroin problem before that, which was caused by the government. Now that we have an opioid crisis that is affecting mostly white folks, now that's when we're supposed to care about the origin of it. You don't want to blame the user of the opioids. No, you want to go be logical about it. Let's really focus on the opioid crisis. What's really causing that? But when it was the crack era, when it was when y'all were flooding the streets with heroin and cocaine and all that, it was about the user. The user was the problem. That's all we focused on. We didn't focus on how the government brought that shit in here. King AJ says, I'm the enemy. The enemy of whom? If I'm against Charlie Kirk, you would have hated Martin Luther King. Why is that? I'm the real enemy. Reed's Room says South Park parodied Charlie Kirk on their last episode. I don't. It's been a while since I watched South Park. Yaya, salute. But I want you guys to think about something. Yes, Charlie Kirk did say that, Carrie. Charlie Kirk did say gun deaths are necessary to preserve the Second Amendment, which is stupid as fuck. Stupid to say that. Because I am pro-gun right. And I will not say no silly, stupid ass shit like that. You know what I would say? No, gun deaths will be greatly reduced if our right to keep and bear arms were not infringed upon at all in the least. Because if you look at the CDC statistics, hundreds of thousands of crimes against individuals are prevented by good people with guns. That's what I would focus on, right? If people had the means to defend themselves and their rights were protected to do so, they would be more inclined and there would be less violence against people if more people were able to defend themselves with guns. Because, like I said, hundreds of thousands of violent crimes against people are prevented by good people with guns. That's what the CDC statistics say. It's stupid to tell people that gun deaths are necessary to preserve the Second Amendment. It's not. No. The Second Amendment is necessary to prevent gun deaths. But of course, when they say stupid shit like that, it gives these people ammunition to go against our rights. Now, Iryna. Iryna. Thank you, Coach Hudson. Yes, please hit the like button. Or, if you don't like what I'm saying, you can press the downvote button, whatever you want to do. Realize says they made a mockery of what he said, and now he died by his own words. Yeah. He's talking about gang violence. What about the gang that commit violence against our people every day? What about the gang of people that commit economic crimes against us every day? Gregory said, so, Iryna on the train. Another tragic situation. Chat so silent because I'm talking about gun rights. Yes, probably because they think I'm a liberal and they think I'm against gun rights, but I'm not. But Charlie Kirk said, he can say what he wants, right? People have the right to free speech. I am with that. But you still have to be a little bit more intelligent about how you spread your message of freedom, if that's what you really want to do. Telling people that gun deaths are necessary to preserve the Second Amendment is dumb as fuck. It's stupid. Just like when Madeleine Albright said that 500,000 children being murdered during a war that was unnecessary is worth what she got out of that war. These people tell you every day. Mac Clements says that I just said the Second Amendment is stupid. No, I did not. See, you guys don't listen. I am pro-gun right. Telling people that gun deaths are necessary to preserve the Second Amendment is dumb as fuck. I'm going to say it again. And like I said, what makes more sense is that gun rights are necessary to prevent gun deaths. Preserving the Second Amendment is necessary to prevent gun deaths. That's what he should have said. That's what he should have said. But no. What do these people do? See, they all play these games. Understand that Charlie Kirk is close to Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the president of the United States. And the United States is controlled by the bankers and the corporations and the elite class. Charlie Kirk is essentially a member of the elite class. And what they do is they spread rhetoric and propaganda to foment division and to really see he really wants you to hate the Second Amendment. That's why he says some stupid shit like that. Anyway, Iryna, the young lady that was murdered by the schizophrenic black man on the train. Very interesting that mental health is not a concern in this case. Because when we find out that individuals who commit mass situations supposedly have mental health issues, well, we lean on that, right? We lean on that and we say, oh, well, there's a mental health crisis. Well, how many people said there's a mental health crisis when Iryna was murdered by this black man? He did spread propaganda. Telling people that Martin Luther King was an awful person is propaganda. Telling people that gun deaths are necessary to preserve the Second Amendment is propaganda. Telling people that if he sees a black pilot on a plane he's in, he's concerned about his qualifications is propaganda. Charlie Kirk may have spoken some truths, but he also mixed it in with lies and propaganda. Kirk and Eagletail says Charlie Kirk had shit coming out of his mouth, shit came back to him. That's what it happens, man. When you're a public figure and you put yourself out there, you're gonna have people that are gonna hate you because they are against what you are speaking. Benya says not propaganda, subjective maybe. Those aren't separate. Those are mutually exclusive things. Those aren't mutually exclusive. Subjectivity and propaganda aren't mutually exclusive. Anyway, Iryna on the train. Listen. The black man that killed her was schizophrenic. He had mental health problems. Not to say that this young lady deserved to die. She did not. She shouldn't have. She shouldn't have been murdered by this dude. But, now I love how she was a Ukrainian immigrant. And when people, I don't know how they tie this to the Ukrainian war. Sure, she was a Ukrainian immigrant. But you know how people listen, I really don't give a shit about Ukraine. I'm gonna just be real about that. So I'm gonna keep that separate from what happened to that young lady. We should not be conjoining her demise with Ukraine. What's going on there? We are giving billions and billions of dollars to Ukraine to perpetuate this war. And it is no, they're using our money to no benefit of ourselves. Oh yeah, I know that. Realize there are a lot of sleeper cells. She was helpless and it was heartless. She should not have died. She shouldn't have died. But she did. And of course, there are white folks out there that are spreading hate because of it. They are blaming all black folks. Just look at the comments. Go through social media about this situation. They are talking about attacking black folks for no goddamn reason. Because one schizophrenic did something. Now, I don't know if you guys saw the meme or the picture that I put up for this live stream. Did y'all see it? There's a picture of a white man and a black young lady. No, it won't work out that how they think, Coach Hudson. Kind of sounds like I'm leaning on the evil side. I don't know how that is. Anyway, I'm just telling y'all the truth. Charlie Kirk fomented hate and division. That's simply what he did. He was not about unity. He was not about going at the real enemy. He wanted to make the enemy the black man and the liberals. That's not how you do shit. And then there are liberals out there that make the enemy out of the people on the right. Again, perpetuating division amongst the people that are being ruled over by tyrants at the top. Now, who are those individuals in the picture? Charlie Kirk spoke unity, but every chance he got, he attacked black folks. He told y'all that black pilots are unqualified, basically. He told y'all Martin Luther King, who really was about unity, Martin Luther King was about unity. And he called Martin Luther King an awful man. Why did he call him an awful man? Because he may have had getting some booty on the side, getting a little cat. Maybe Martin Luther King was a cool's hound. Who are those individuals in the picture? Do y'all know? Y'all know who those people are? Let me see if y'all know. Y'all know who these people are in the pictures that I put up. Y'all know who these are? Y'all know who those individuals are right there? No? You don't know? You don't know? You don't know them? Interesting. Does anybody know who they are? Fool ass Earthman, salute to you. Good morning. Dropping that super chat on your boy. Do y'all know who those? I'll give you a hint. Y'all know who they are? Thank you for the $10 super chat. Malik Harris says, who cares? You do, because you're watching my live stream and writing in the chat. You care. Do y'all know who they are? The young lady's name is Nia Wilson. Y'all know who Nia Wilson is? The white man in the picture, his name is John Cowell. Y'all know who those people are? Well, let me show you. Nia Wilson. Guess what happened to her? Guess what happened to Nia Wilson and her two sisters, actually? See, there were four people involved in this situation. Yes. Fat Dad, 21. Nia Wilson and her two sisters, Latifah and Tashia, were minding their own business at a train station. This young lady right here, minding her own business with her two sisters on a train at a train station, when this asshat, John Lee Cowell, a white man with no history of mental illness, walked up on them and stabbed all three of them. Stabbed three black women at a train station for no good goddamn reason. No history of mental health issues. Coach Hudgens says white folks all over the Fox News were talking about Civil War after Cincinnati attack, but after the Barnyard attack in Wisconsin have been silent. Of course they have, because they really don't. They're really not about that life. But when he killed this black woman and stabbed her two sisters at a train station, was black folks running around talking about Civil War? No, they were not. Did y'all give a fuck when this man killed a young black girl on a train station in 2018 for no fucking reason and no history of mental health issues? When we tried to say this guy was racist and killed her because she was black, y'all said, y'all push back. I talked about this when this happened years ago. No one gave a shit. Well, he's in jail. He's in prison. Was black folks running around talking about, oh, let's kill all white people, let's start a civil war? No, they were not. No, we weren't. But y'all didn't give a shit about this beautiful young lady who was minding her own business on a train station. Y'all tried to find a way to make her the bad girl, like y'all always do. So don't come up on my fucking channel telling me I'm evil when y'all didn't give a shit about Nia. Y'all didn't give a shit about this young lady who was on her birthday, minding her own goddamn business at the train station, being attacked by a white man for no fucking reason. What was it? What was it? Help me understand it. What did she do? Guess what? She was an American citizen. She wasn't an immigrant. An American citizen murdered at a train station, and her two sisters wounded by one white man for no reason. Minding her own goddamn business. Why? Look at her. She's tiny. Look how tiny she is, y'all. She's little, tiny. This white man targeted her and her sisters. Targeted her. This was the day of her death at the train station. Look how tiny she is. Help me understand it. Where was y'all at when she died? Robert Randall says, we only know what's on the media, so the media didn't care either. Get mad at them because, oh, we should be mad at the media now. Oh, we should blame the media for y'all not giving a fuck about Nia Wilson. Oh, okay. Okay. Persian Inferno says she is little. She was, yes. She was tiny. A tiny, just mind her own business. Can't even be at a train station. Can't even be at a train station. He was sentenced to life. That's what happened to this asshat. He was sentenced to life. Now we got to waste taxpayer money to keep this motherfucker alive for as long as possible. When he was convicted, he should have been taken around back and killed immediately. Summary execution. Why do we keep keeping these motherfuckers alive? To keep the private prisons full? See, now he's a slave to the system. But we have to pay to house this motherfucker. And the benefit that these private prisons get from him being in prison, we don't get a return on that. Exactly, Reed's Room. Say, are you talking? Whose name are you talking about? That motherfucker should be once he was convicted, he should have been dead a day later. Why make it a taxpayer burden? Because this motherfucker killed somebody. Nia Wilson, Reed's Room. That's her name. Nia Wilson. Remember Nia Wilson? When they run around talking about how black folks are so bad because Iryna died on a train. Remember Nia Wilson. Persian Inferno. He only killed the one young lady. The other two were wounded. Her sisters were wounded. They didn't die. I think as far as I know. Hold on. He stabbed 3 people. Now, hold on. Now Latifah Wilson and the other sister, she's still alive. Lakin Baker says, what are the overall statistics when it comes to interracial crime? Well, I've spoken about that before. I've spoken about that before in a live stream years ago. And I told you why those statistics, why should we trust what the FBI tells us the statistics are when they have to gather all the information from all these local police stations? If they're putting people on timeout, it's not because they have opposing views. There are plenty of people that haven't been timed out that have opposing views. Facts are black people don't their history why hiding folks got Jesus still black skin. Yeah. No, they're still alive, Persian Inferno. Anyway, Lakin, Baker, you have not been timed out yet, have you? That's all. Listen, I believe in free speech, y'all. I believe in free speech, and I typically don't want my moderators timing people out for people exercising their free speech, but there are certain things that, you know, you have to be careful with. You got put on timeout for posting a statistic. Well, what if you said something disrespectful to them, then that's probably why they did that. If you made threats, then that's probably why they timed you out. If you made a threat, if you were on some rainbow shit, if you're spamming, if you're spamming, if you appear to be a bot, if you're doing some rainbow shit, making threats, that's probably why they did that. Lakin at large. Listen, let me get on in here and get my finish my workout, y'all. But thank you guys for coming through. Thank you for hitting that like button. Thank you for sharing all that good stuff. And yeah, y'all stay safe out there, man. Always keep a tool on you. Don't let them convince you that you should not arm yourselves for your own protection because some idiots run around killing people with tools, right? We will do not allow them, because of some stupid shit Charlie Kirk said about deaths being worth it to preserve the Second Amendment. Don't let that shit keep you guys from defending yourselves by any means necessary. That's all I'm saying. Pay attention to who they put in front of you and determine whether or not they're trying to push unity or division, and if they're even pointing to the right enemy. Who the real enemy is. The real enemy who has been fomenting war and division all across the world for centuries. Operation Mockingbird is still live and in effect. Look that up as well. So anyway, thank you guys for coming through. Thank you for hitting that like button. Thank you to everyone who dropped the super chat. I really appreciate you. I appreciate that, Persian Inferno. Thank you for subbing. Thank you. Do not allow these people to tell you that you need to give up your rights. Any of them. Free speech, the right to keep and bear arms, the right to privacy. Don't allow them to convince you of that. Excuse me. Because there are people out there that do not care about gun laws. They don't care about none of that. All they care about is doing whatever they want to do. If they want to commit a crime against you, they will not care about a gun law. What time am I on usually? Around this time. Somewhere around this time. Anyway, y'all, much love, like, share, subscribe. Make sure y'all stay trained up. Make sure you guys go get it in. Make sure you guys go to the range. Make sure you guys are, using your critical thinking skills. All right? Let's do that. Anyway, much love, like, share, subscribe, and let's keep marching forward toward freedom. Peace. And thank you to my moderators for keeping everything in order. All right? Peace.